No, look at you. Look at you. Good morning, YouTubers.
Good morning.
Whoa, it's almost a little too warm out today, but not. I can hear the ice cream truck actually. Let's tell them who lives here. Well, that'll never get old for me. My neighbors might feel differently about that. Sometimes I can see them in the window looking at what I'm doing. But, fuck them. Gotta take the key out of the ignition because it's not the remix to ignition. Anyways, today we have this back on the bench. We're gonna get this finally done. We have to cut the ends off right here. And then we have to get our seat clip eliminators pressed onto our axles. And then we have to get all the pinion and stuff bolted back into this. So, first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna cut off the ends flush with our grinder so the pieces can fit on here. Bam! It's even in the instructions. You gotta go. I'm actually just gonna jam some paper towel in the side and then pull it out after. Might need more. Alright, those things are grinded off on the end. They're flush. I still have to clean out the tubes when I take out the center section. We have our axles here. And you can see they're dual bolt pattern. I believe the smaller one is actually going to be the Ford one. It is, yeah, definitely the smaller one. These are strange 35 spline axles. And I'm going to put some studs in them. I can totally use your help right now.
Can you? Okay, I'll help you.
Okay, so here's what you gotta do. You gotta take
my shirt
this
and go like,
yes.
What? Okay.
No, you take this 3 inches and you drive it into this hole after you put some red Loctite on it. I know that's a little bit longer than you're used to, that's 3 inches. But that's what I'm gonna need you to do. So just a little bit of red Loctite on the end, a washer, and then you drive it into the hole.
Drive you into the hole?
Okay. Wait, what? Oh, you drove it all the way in.
Yeah, baby.
All the way. We'll have to tighten them after. You can hammer on it. Bottom it out and hammer on it. That's what I do.
You bottom it out? Okay. How much you want to hammer on it?
Like 6 ugga-duggas.
I ain't doing 6 ugga-duggas.
What the kind of mechanic are you?
Not a 6 ugga-dugga mechanic, obviously.
The good kind, $8.
Yes.
Well, we've got one pressed together here with the marriage ring. It's a little tough. We use our little ghetto rig over here and some stupid socket set that we have, like the press set. Use like this thing. But I did notice one thing just now is that this is actually a roller style bearing. Like it isn't, it's like a tapered roller style bearing. I didn't know if it was always supposed to be like that or not, but it is. So we'll jam it all together and hope it works. I hope Tokyo's wasn't a tapered style bearing, because if it is, that means it had to have a certain amount of torque on those bolts in order to get the right like preload on it. And if you have too much, then you preload the bearing too much and then it can break. I hope that's not the issue. So next day, got our little dial wrench here that we can measure our resistance on, like the drag on the pinion bearing. And then seal driver kit, so we can put this all back together now and finally be done with it, because it seems like it's been taking forever. I'm likely not going to film much of this because we've already done this once on Tokyo's Malibu. If you want to go back through that and watch those videos, they're pretty not entertaining as well. So we're just going to do that, and then when it's done, I'm probably going to jerk it and then come back in and then finish the axle. This part is by far one of the worst parts you have to do, is torquing down this stupid pinion nut. Like crushing the crush washer thingamajiggy. You gotta have like pecs of steel, and mine's are sore because I did a workout. But so that was a 1/16 of a turn, and now you gotta keep doing that and keep measuring it to make sure you don't over tighten it. Oh, it's starting to get tight. The spec is between 18 and 28, and we are at like right on 28. So I'm gonna over tighten it like a little tiny bit. That's like 25. So we got that end. Now to put the other end in. Let's get the backside. Virginia, it's time to do the backside. Come back out. I need it. So here's our final pattern. It's in the center, pretty deep on this side. It's in the center on that side. It's a little bit up high, but our backlash is a little on the loose side. It's on the 12 thou. And the spec is between 8 and 12, so we'll go with a little bit looser, and then we can run probably like a little bit better oil in the back, maybe. I don't know. But it's in spec still, so everything is in spec. So we can throw the axles in now, make sure those fit, and then the cover and fluid. Oh, and we have to take these bushings out and put our other bushings in. I mean, you kind of want it a little bit on the loose side, because if it's too like tight, you can't really jam it in there. You know what I'm saying? All my hard work. I think I deserve a fucking popsicle or two, maybe. That's one good thing about having our freezer in the garage now, is that there's always popsicles. I'm gonna be so good at licking. Even though that guy's using his lawnmower, we're still gonna push it real good. But push it real. You get the idea. Oh yeah, that's spline engagement though. What the heck? I was just browsing the internet and my girlfriend, she be whack. Remember that shirt she was wearing earlier in the video? What the heck? It's gone. Tier 3 Discord, Twitch, link down below. Now it says to torque these to 35 feet-pounds, but you can't actually physically get a torque wrench in there, especially with these quad brackets here, so it's gonna be by feels. It's gonna be 35-foot feels. Here we go. Click. There we go. Nailed it. Both sides in, and our stock brakes will in fact fit with these brackets. So now we'll get the cover on, we'll get these pressed out, and I'll show you the thing that goes up there. So I'm not sure if they put 410s in it because, well, I know they didn't, because I just marked this bolt hole with this brush, and then I had this lined up with this straight up and down, and this is 4 revolutions, so it actually went past this point on 4 revolutions, and on our cover it actually says 95 Mustang GT 373s. So I think I've got sad. I think I have 373 gears in there, because if I go back to where this was lined up. So that's how I had it lined up. And that was a full revolution of our ring gear. And we started right here with the brush, and it looks like we have a quarter turn left, which would mean we have 373s in it. So we're gonna do this the way Virginia told me to do it, because smashing it with a hammer clearly didn't work last time. But just use our ball joint press thingy-majiggy. It doesn't take much pressure to get this out. It's coming. Rig it up, Kyle. Jeez, toes are on fire today. There it is. This bushing had to be replaced anyways. It was all cracked around this piece. Oh yeah, cook them burgers, slave. Okay.
I'm cooking the burgers.
Thanks for feeding my cocksucker. So now we've got this weird looking contraption which fits these little things fit inside our ears, and it actually moves our control arms like 2 inches higher, which will give us more anti-squat. So I don't know the technical terms of everything, but where the 2 bars intersect in the car, the closer it is to the rear end, the more anti-squat it has. Essentially, if our stock bars look like this, in the back, this is our upper control arm here, this is our bottom control arm here, and then like our rear tires somewhere in this area, because the bars do this, and then they intersect right here. I can't remember what this specific one is, maybe center of gravity, but this is like where it meets up, and that's how much anti-squat you will have. I don't know the exact calculations, I'm just letting you know what I know. So essentially, if you move this bar higher, the angle on it's gonna increase, and then you're gonna intersect with this bottom one way sooner, which gives you more anti-squat. And anti-squat, what it does is it turns like the torsional energy, and it forces the axle down into the ground and actually drives the tire down instead of like what you would think it is. So I'll see if I can find a video online of a car, I think Neil had posted one with Cream Dream, where he takes off, and instead of what you think the suspension is gonna do where it squats down, it actually separates, drives the tire down, and it gives you more grip since the tire is being driven into the pavement. And it's really weird, I didn't know any of this until I started doing stuff on the Supra. So this whole thing with like the extra geometry and our mounts, our adjustable mounts that we can weld in, it would all help because suspension is like a big thing in getting the tire to stick to the ground. So it's not all just about weight transfer and having like your car ass squat in the back. That might not even be the best situation, considering if you are able to pull apart the suspension and drive that tire down, you might actually get more grip than if you are to like just put the whole weight of the vehicle on the back of the tire. So we're gonna install this thing, and I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. It comes with like some extra support brackets that were already cut because this was on the mock at one point. And then we have the upper adjustable arms as well. That was Kyle's tech tip of the day. And usually I'm not so serious, but it's one of those things that has to be discussed if you're trying to get your car down the track and you can't figure it out. It's probably to do with your suspension setup. A lot of guys will add a bunch more holes to the bottom of these to increase that angle also, so they can lower these bars. These ones are supposed to be level with the ground the car is sitting, and then a lot of guys will add adjustable ones of these as well. So if you look at like a fabricated 9-inch, it has like 40,000 holes up here and 41,000 holes down here. More holes are better, I think. Wrench hammer. That's essentially what it is. So I might have lied a little bit on 2 inches higher. That's my male measurement. It's only probably like an inch higher up, but it's actually like 2 inches in this way. And this arm is actually significantly shorter. Well, without getting all dirty. This one's actually significantly shorter than this one, which will in turn make it point down just a little bit more. I think we're gonna do the brake lines on this too while it's here. It'll just be a lot easier. It used to be dual lines coming to the back of the car, one goes to each side. I'm gonna go single line from the front to the back because I got rid of the ABS. So we have to add some sort of bracket to hold our flex line here, and then tee off and go to each caliper. So I'm not yet knowing where I'm gonna mount it. I might just, I don't know, put a bolt through that, put it there. And then these, of course, came off the car, so they're bubble flared metric fittings. And these are standard double flare fittings. So that's what we've got to work with. And then these are a bit too long. Kind of just customized it if I have to. I can just put a small loop in the line right there. I'm not too worried. And since we're like super cheap and stuff, we're just gonna use the ones that we have because that's how we do things around here. We're like, new brake hoses, 20 bucks? Nope. Buy 2 pizzas. So I actually had to flip these sides they wouldn't work the way I wanted to because these are bent. They would have hit this shock. They still might hit, but it's easier to bend this way. I also have the wrong banjo bolt, so that sucks. But it's at a bit of an angle. I don't really care. And like I said, 20 bucks is definitely 20 bucks. And that's how much my blowjobs cost. Well, it looks super dumb, but hopefully you can't see it. But for now, I mean, we can always go back and change it. You guys do that too, where you make something temporary and then it becomes permanent temporary? Like zip ties and stuff? Happens to me all the time. There, it's all together. We need a couple bolts for right here. And then we need some banjo bolts for the calipers. And then we gotta put these on. Now weird, well Kent had originally bought this for the mock, and it's weird that he cheaped out on lower arms and didn't get double adjustable ones, but that's the way it is. So we'll put these in. I think I'm gonna put these in first on this end, and then connect them once the axle's here, because this bolt's just gonna be much easier to get at. So it's coming up off the stand, going under the car. I'm gonna open that door, give me more light. Oh, just work on the floor like a little bitch. Would it be a Kyle install if we didn't keep running into problems? So this time, of course there's dirt bike kids going around right now. Gotta get that bolt again. So this one. Alright, so this bolt fits in here without any slop, but the bolt is actually too big to fit through these ones. So I'm gonna have to drill at these, which involves I gotta pull the rotor off because I can't drill through this side without the rotor off. So, I mean, I could use a smaller bolt, but then there would be slop in there, and I don't really want slop in the rear end. Because the main reason you use the rear end is because there's less slop in it. So I'm gonna be persistent here. I'm gonna, even though I'm exhausted and tired now, I'm gonna pull those calipers and rotors off so I can drill both sides of it, get the right size bolts through there, and you know what's another friggin' 30 minutes on top of all day already. Hey, persistence paid off. It's in there. There's no springs in there and the shocks aren't connected yet. I don't have any banjo bolts, so I'm not too concerned yet. Drive shaft is still down, but I still have to put diff fluid in it. My neighbors like to party, jeez. So, as you know, this axle was in and running, and like, I didn't have to do anything to it. But the upgrades from this axle to this one was, this was doing a one-wheel peeler because it had an open diff in it. It has 28 spline axles, which are like this big compared to this big, the 35 splines on this one. This one has a spool in it, so both tires are always going to spin at the same rate. This has a little bit better gearing than this one, I do believe. And then our upgraded control arms and bushings. So, needless to say, we went big upgrades. If we would have went to the track on this diff, it would have been shit. This one, we might do wheelies. So, I'm going to go inside. I'm going to edit this all up. It's been a long, long day. I don't know how you guys in like California or Florida or wherever you guys are from, leave down below, work and how hot it gets. But today, here, it was 25 degrees Celsius. I do not know what that is in Fahrenheit. I'm sorry. I'll put it on the screen. And then you can go down in the comments below and brag that your place is way hotter than it is here. And I don't know how you do it. Because I'm like, I'm dying and I'm not a big dude. Imagine a big dude with some meat on him and some insulation. It must hurt. So I don't know where I'm going to be at with this video right now. So I'll go inside, I'll edit it up. If it's enough, then peace easy and get that V. And I'll start a new video tomorrow. If it's not, then I got to find some banjo bolts on the weekend, which is almost impossible to find. Finish our brake line, put some wheels on it, bleed the brakes, and then it's ready to drive. I have some electrical work. I'm still starting it with a fucking wire. So maybe we'll tinker with that eventually too. So peace easy, get that V. I'm going to be on stream. Twitch.tv, Alien Trash Cat.